Global demand for energy, as well as technology improvements, continue to drive opportunities for energy companies across the world. And the ones who will be most successful are those that synchronize the complex moving parts throughout their organizations and with their partners. Nexview Consulting has been working with 2 global exploration and production companies over the last 2 years to adapt the integrated business planning process, developed primarily in manufacturing companies over the last 30 years, and we are now bringing that to upstream oil and gas. As we know, upstream is very different from manufacturing, but the need for management teams to integrate their financial planning with operations and marketing in a structured way with a single set of plans is not different. As a result of this implementation work, Nexview now offers a 3-day training course specifically for E&P companies that would like to know more about IBP. The course supplements the 2-day course for downstream and petrochemicals that is much more like the conventional IBP or sales and operations planning process that many are familiar with. For those interested in the downstream course, please take a look at the S&OP training video available on the website or on YouTube. A version of the general course described in that video has been developed specifically for downstream. So let's talk more about upstream. I have a few slides to illustrate what I'm talking about.
IBP is management's vehicle for communication, performance management, and intermediate-term decision-making related to integrating financial, marketing, and operational planning to meet company objectives. I like to think of IBP as something that operationalizes the strategy of the company, if you will. We'll be working from one set of consistent plans throughout the organization. No more does finance have their own version of plans, marketing have their own version, operations possibly something else. This process will bring that together to make sure everyone is working from the same set. We'll have a layered system of KPIs throughout the process to define accountability. This process really needs to be senior management led. If it's not, then senior managers will make decisions outside of this process, and it really won't be the process that drives the actual decision making in the company. Because we value everyone's time and time is short, we want to make sure the meetings are exception based. Also, IBP, the intent of it is to afford you enough time to manage gaps to plan while there's still time to take action. So it's generally not a process that we're talking about items related to, say, this month or maybe even next month, but more a few months out in the future where we have long lead times that we need to consider if we do have a gap to plan that we need to address. We'll talk about some of the benefits of IBP here in a minute, but right now I'll say that the process will result in reduced time to cash, improved spend management through better visibility and actions around that, also improved capital efficiency as well. IBP will allow a great platform for leadership development, improved teamwork, and really also continuous improvement throughout the company. In every company, the budget structure, the organizational structure, and the underlying supporting data structure in terms of how we report the business needs to be aligned. So we will align an IBP design with these 3 things, or in some cases, in some organizations, maybe these things aren't quite aligned as well as they should be, and working on an IBP effort can help to drive alignment across these 3 legs of the stool. Here you can see that IBP sits between longer-term business planning, budgeting, and management input on one side, and the functional executional processes on the other. I'm showing some examples of onshore underlying processes here. IBP is a continuous cycle connecting these 2 things. The business plan, the agreed upon budget, and perhaps a management input, which often ends up in the budget, is fed into IBP, meaning what the specific plans to be achieved are. And these are in turn fed down to the functional departments for execution. The hitch occurs when something in the business changes or we run into an executional issue that requires cross-functional coordination. These items could bubble up to an IBP meeting from the lower levels for resolution that is best for the whole, and this may then cause a change to the go-forward plans that needs to be coordinated across functions. Similarly, next time a budget or extended planning cycle occurs, because we've been reviewing and potentially revising those plans throughout the IBP process during the year, that information is able to feed the next longer-term planning cycle. Thus, you can see the two-way top-down, bottom-up nature of the process to ensure we are not only monitoring performance, but are also being proactive in managing changes as they occur. Here's a slide that illustrates a bit more about the IBP process. We manage the whole of the business by managing the parts. And again, those parts should be consistent with your budget, organizational, and data structures. IBP is a set of component meetings that manages plans and decisions relative to respective parts of the business. So in a general sense, you might have a component that deals with the operational parts of the business, such as managing production, perhaps multiple production wedges like new wells and existing wells. You might have a component related to managing outlet infrastructure, processing facilities, and marketing contracts. And the culminating or executive meeting would then address issues that could not be resolved in the earlier meetings or require senior management to make a decision. Each meeting has a corresponding view of the plan that shows the planning drivers pertinent to that part of the business. Planning drivers are operational and financial quantities that are typically budgeted for and need to be managed to ensure they are on track. When something in the business changes that will change one of these quantities in the future, other planning drivers will typically change as well. And it's really this interaction of these planning drivers that cause the trade-offs to be managed and the decisions to be made. These plans are then supplemented with graphical charts or scenario summaries to enable discussion and decision making. Here are some examples of business scenarios that often come up and need to be managed in a coordinated way. Assets may need to be rebalanced across the field or across regions at the corporate level. This creates cascading changes throughout the organization, as we know. Changes in performance may require a rebalancing of capital, production, and reserves. For example, if cycle time improves, we can drill more wells for the same capital or reduce capital for the same production. Changes in commodity prices could cause changes in operating decisions and associated investment. Infrastructure decisions and balancing infrastructure and processing capacity with plant production and how those trade-offs are managed. Offshore, you may have decisions about whether to use your processing capacity or sell it to others or expand your own or buy from others. Lots of things come up in the course of business, and IBP will structure these decisions and the collaboration in a data-based manner. Planning gaps are only the tip of the iceberg. It's really what's underneath where the large financial impacts are. Here are some examples of areas that IBP will help to improve: cycle times, capital efficiency, infrastructure, synchronizing resources. Often the impacts are in the tens of millions of dollars. The course is a mix of theory, exercises, and case study material that will produce tangible outputs that participants can put to use upon return to work. In the course, we will introduce integrated business planning and its benefits. We'll benchmark your current planning processes and how you connect your strategic plan with execution using Nexview benchmarking tools. We'll review your business planning drivers. We'll also produce an IBP design for your organization that aligns with how you manage and budget the business, aligns with your organization structure, and aligns with your underlying planning and reporting data structure as well. We'll take a look at IT requirements and supporting systems. We'll also take a look at case studies from Nexview client work, and of course we'll review tips and traps for implementation as well as change management techniques.
So that's the idea. The course is designed for business leaders, functional leaders, planning process owners, and planning process participants who want to learn and practice proven techniques for improving cross-functional collaboration within their organizations, such that the business can respond to changes and take advantage of opportunities that are best for the whole. As with all Nexview training courses, this one includes methodologies we've been using for years to help clients drive performance improvement, accountability definition, and results. Course formats are available for conference settings as well as for single companies if you'd prefer a session specifically for your team. So please see the website for more information, and don't hesitate to contact us with any questions or just to exchange ideas.